Welcome to episode 4 of the Toebash Diaries. We are back. I'm here with Chuck and Rick. And first up, we have a full transfer roundup, the big names, the busted deals, who's still on the move. Then we'll go on about what on earth is going on at Newcastle and Villa. And lastly, we'll look at the top 4. Are the teams starting to pull away, or is it just early season hype? Let's get into it, boys. First off the bat, Mbeumo, what do you think about this signing for Man United?
For once, Man United have done something in my books right for a change in a while. They got Cunha, they got Mbeumo up front, 2 10s that can also kind of alternate between wings if they really need to, and also fill in behind at the striker if desperate. But they still need one more piece that front end, and that's the striker to complement those two coming into the team. They've spent 100 and what is it, 60, 70, so it's at 130 odd mil so far. It's a lot of money. They haven't addressed their midfield. There's still a few pieces at the back. Actually, the entire back line plus keeper plus midfield still needs addressings, but they're in the right sort of direction. So I'm very happy with what they've done so far. I give them pretty much an A so far. I reckon they've had a great window. So
I think the team needed goals, and if you're going to get Cunha and Mbeumo, two players who dramatically outperformed the XG last year. If not taking the statistical route, basically just showing how clinical they were, and goals change games. So for Man United to sign two players who got north of 30 goals combined last season, they're automatically going to start propping up the table. Add to the fact that they only play one game a week for the most part of the season, while nearly the whole top 10 is playing in Europe one way or another. I think there's some cause for optimism for Man United. But yeah, you're right, Rick. I think they need a striker, and if they can offload a couple players, but with that, it looks like Rashford is also moving across to Barcelona. He's taking their guarantees that there'll be a squad place for him to be registered without it formally happening. So what do you guys think about Rashford heading off to Barça? He's been wanting that move for so long. I'm actually surprised he got it, to be honest. And it looks like it's close to being finalized.
I wonder how much Barca's actually taken on his contract.
All of it.
Are they taking all of
the
it?
whole thing.
Yeah. That's huge.
Wow.
That's awesome for Man United. Yeah,
that's
they
what I'm
needed
saying.
that.
They've done three bits of good business so far.
Yeah, that's great. Also, with the Mbeumo signing, they've just added 20 goals and Cunha is another 10, 15. So like you said, I also agree, not to just touch base on it again, but they do need a striker. But that's really good business knowing that Rashford, the whole contract, what is he on, like 350 or something like that?
315, 320, something like that.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, that's a big positive sign for them, to be honest.
I think their best case scenario was to sell him. Like they really want to get rid of this contract and make a little bit of money off him, obviously being homegrown. But devoid of that, this is the next best option. And they also did it pretty early. If I saw Man U leaving this linger on later on in the window, their leverage would have been gone, right? They would have had to stump up half their contract just to get him out the door. But the fact that they did it nice and early, it was a bit of a power play for them. So, I think they're heading in the right direction, but they've got so many issues throughout the pitch.
The whole spine everywhere.
Yeah, Amorim's really walking a tightrope. He's got a tough start to the season. I know he's added a couple of good players, but if they're languishing 12th after, there's 3 international breaks that happen in the first half of the season.
Yeah.
And, everyone looks at those international breaks as, milestones. So if he's up against it, the second or third international break, that team could get rocked pretty quickly. So
I wonder what's going to happen with them, because they can't get rid of Anana. They've obviously sounded out the teams. They can't get rid of him.
Well, he's injured. So if he's injured, that's not helping the cause either.
He's injured. They can't get rid of Anthony yet. They still want a nice fee for him. Garnacho's floating there somewhere, which, as we've discussed with Villa, you've got a few pieces in midfield, and like Eriksen, has Eriksen retired, or is he still going? Like, is that another piece of the puzzle that they got to replace?
I think he's
gone.
He's gone.
He's
gone.
Yeah.
So they've got a midfield slot there. Like there's a lot of missing holes there that they can go into the new year Obviously, a formidable attack can sort of hide a lot of all the problems there, but still, there's a lot of holes behind Bruno Fernandes, to be honest with you. There's not much I'm really liking besides Cunha, Mbeumo, Fernandes. After that, I'm slim pickings for me.
What's the go with Martinez? Is he heading over there soon, or what's the update on that?
There's about 3 different reports. There's the report that says there's a swap deal on. There's a report that says he's worth 20 mil, and there's another report that says there's been no negotiations, but his camp's kind of fusing something. So something I'm thinking is, I think he wants out or he wants something different, but at the same time, Man United would dangle a bigger salary or something or rather in his face to sort of get his interest, ears perked up. So there's definitely something there. It's not concrete at the moment.
Yeah, okay. I think it's all agent talk trying to manufacture some business for him. I think knowing the predicament you're in and, the goalkeeping situation, you can't be paying your goalkeeper 150k a week and plus bonuses. If he keeps a clean sheet, there's another 50k. Like his bonuses are the whole package for Martinez is very, very expensive. And, I think the agents are just trying to manufacture a deal somewhere. I think he'll go. I don't think he's going to stay with you come the start of the season. You already brought one keeper in as insurance in case he goes, but maybe
that's
you get that Chevrolet. Yeah, it's a big loss, but I don't think he was great last year, Jay. Last year, I mean, if you say the previous 3-4 years before that, he was a lifesaver for Villa. But last year, he cost them points, in my view. He made a few really weird decisions coming out. I mean, the last game of the season, everyone knows, but that wasn't entirely his fault. But throughout the season, Villa copped a lot of goals.
Yeah, well, look at the back line. Yeah, the back line is I'd say 80% of the cause because he's still top 3 shot stopper in the world, right?
Yeah.
And if Man United pick him up, that'll be huge because they haven't had a good keeper in a long time, to be honest.
Well, he's 33, so I think he's got 3-4 years left, maybe. But I don't know. But last year was a bit of a drop from the previous year, like Chuck said. It wasn't. He was for me years prior. He's almost world class. He was like a brick wall. But last year he had moments of madness. He had moments of brilliance. It was just up and down. And I can't put it down to the fact that maybe he wanted to leave earlier and his head got turned. Don't know. Or it's just him kind of starting to taper off. It's one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boys, anything's better than an Nana, to be honest.
Definitely. Boys, as we record this Sunday night Sydney time, which is probably morning UK, Ekitike looks like he's signed for Liverpool.
It's massive.
It's a big deal, 95 million. Obviously, being a Newcastle fan, I was sort of hoping we'd get that over the line, but it looks like we came in with a firm offer of around 70 million pounds. So about 80 million euros, and then we sort of maxed out. We couldn't really go too much further. Yeah. But Liverpool in that game of cat and mouse with Newcastle, which we'll touch on, they look like they've gone through with it, and they're going to bring Ekitike, who I think he's a really good player, but I'm not sure if he's really prolific. I think he might be a 15 goal a season, maybe 10 assists. He's a very all-round type of a player. But I don't see that prolific element to his game. But given the way Liverpool play, I think he's a really good signing because he'll be linking, he'll be moving, he presses. He's a very aggressive presser. So he defends with the ball, without the ball, which is one of the things why Howe liked him at Newcastle. He can play that system. And Liverpool look like they've just rated Bundesliga's best and brightest,
Yeah,
bringing
they have.
In Wirtz, bringing in, Ekitike. Frimpong. Exactly. It's 3 players from the Bundesliga who you think would be really good for them, but it is a bit risky.
It is, but it's a massive upgrade to Darwin Núñez. Huge.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I wonder what they're going to do with him now if Milan or someone picks him up now for 50, 60 mil.
Well,
I wonder.
I just read before on him, Diaz is almost close to Bayern 75. It's kind of wrapping up.
Yeah, they want like 80 or 90 mil for him. I have no idea why. That's ridiculous.
I don't know.
It's not worth that. No way. It's like Rodrigo, like we were saying before, 100 mil for him. His output, he scored 2 goals last year and then 10 goals the year before. These guys aren't worth that.
Rodrigo 100, that's for sure. But
you need to show me more if I want to pay 100 million, right? You need to show a little bit more than what you're doing if you're if you're these teams. But look, I think Ekitike is a good player. I don't know if Ekitike is a 90 million euro or 80 million pound player. I don't know if he's that.
What are they getting for? I think 69 million or 70 mil.
82.
78 million all-inclusive package,
Oh,
which is around
yeah.
90 million pounds, 90 million euros. So 78 million, including of add-ons, which is a big fee for a guy who went about 12 months ago for 14 million pounds.
Huge return.
That's a massive upgrade, and I think that's what caused Newcastle a bit of hesitancy to kick on. To go from 70 million pound to 80 million pound deal. Which is what Frankfurt were after. So, look, good luck to Liverpool. I think they're just getting stronger and stronger. They've made some good business. It's pretty early. He'll have a full preseason with the team.
Yeah,
they've got the experienced guys there, the Salas, the Van Dijks. So, they're gonna be a strong team.
Do you know
It's
who I reckon
A plus window.
Do you know who I reckon they'll go for? You're going to laugh at me, but when they sell Diaz, Nunes, I reckon they'll go for Adam Wharton from Palace. Put him in the middle.
You reckon Adam Wharton?
Yeah, I've seen him hover the past six to 9 months. Do you
know how much he's going to cost?
70 mil probably.
Yeah, that's a big fee. Like if you've got Gehi on the precipice of leaving, if you've got Eze potentially leaving, you're really going to go early and move on from Wharton as well? I don't know. I think that's a bit risky.
I know it is a bit risky for them. I just think Liverpool are going to chase him now because they need a central mid now.
Well, they've got Gravenberch in there. They've got McAllister in there. They've got Splozovai in there. They've got three really good players in the middle.
They do.
But they're not thin in the midfield is what Danny's saying. I agree as well. Yeah.
I reckon that, as I've seen some links to Wharton, and I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if they go for him. And they're starting to start.
He's a good player. To be honest, I haven't seen many links about Wharton.
I thought Spurs will go for him.
Yeah, Spurs have spent a lot as well. Already.
Yeah.
They've, obviously the Kudos deal went through. There are a couple of other guys that they signed that kicked in. I was reading somewhere. Well, Gibbs White hasn't been sorted out yet, but anyway. But what about Gyökeres, Jay? I have to ask you because this thing is lingering on and going on and on, and at around 60 to 65 million pounds, which looks like the final figure what you should be getting. Why is this carrying on for Arsenal? Like, don't they know the severity of bringing this guy in and the amount of money? Yeah,
it's not Arsenal. It's actually Sporting that's causing the issues. Yeah. So basically, high level, what I was looking up before is they want their payout done in 2 terms, whereas Arsenal wants to pay it in 4 terms, in 4 installments.
Yeah.
So they want it pretty much upfront straight away. So Arsenal's trying to knock that back, which is a lot of money considering we've spent like literally almost 300 million or 250 million on the transfer window. So it's that, and also with the there's some structure. So essentially, when he reaches 20 appearances, 20 league games, they'll get an add-on payment as well.
Yeah.
The Arsenal is basically pushing back, saying obviously he's going to be playing that amount. It's not like he's a junior or we're trying to bring just a young guy, bring him on. He's not likely to play 20 games. He's going to be playing 20 games off the bat. He'll play as much as he can. So Arsenal pushing back, saying we don't want to pay the add-on. It's probably like another 10 mil on top. Like it's all these little things. They're actually being really petty about it. Is the problem. And now
they want realistic add-ons, right? Not like I think you guys proposed you win the Champions League or the Premier League and then they get the add-on. That's
but the fixed fee is already there. We're paying them 64 million pounds or something like that, which is what they wanted to begin with. So now they've added all these add-ons. The agents waived his fee, that's $7 million there, so they can get the full amount. So Sporting doesn't have to pay him.
Yeah.
So now they're because of what's happened and how Gyökeres conducted himself. He said, I'm not coming back. I'm not going to preseason. I'm not doing this. I think essentially they're trying to find him as well in some sort of contractual dispute. It's going back and forth. And then you got his old man is crying in his hands as well on Twitter. It's becoming a complete farce.
You know what? He's actually destroyed Sporting's value.
Completely.
Because he's like, I just don't want to be with you guys anymore.
And they can't. So usually if he wasn't a guy that was scoring 50 goals for them, if he was some shit kicker in the team, they would have ripped up his contract straight away. But they want a return from him, right?
Yeah.
So they need to get rid of him. Otherwise, he's going to run down his contract. They're not going to get anything from him.
Yeah.
For him. So That's
Jeez.
pretty much a summary of
Big
what's
star,
going on.
Well, it's a player's
Huge.
world, right? It's a player's world. If the player
Yeah.
doesn't want to be at the club, you're pushing, you know what, uphill. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a long
and he's
battle. It disrupts the first team. He's not going to
yeah,
perform.
Yeah.
You know, you're if you can't change his mindset, you've got to
It's a
start
mess.
engaging. But they're probably looking at it like, well, if the agent waived his fee, that helps you, Arsenal, because that's more money for you to give to
Yeah.
us. Like they're
Yeah.
not looking at it like, they're going to receive more. They're looking at it,
Yeah.
it's almost
Yeah,
like
of
how we
course.
got stamp duty here in Australia when you buy a house. The government gives everybody 25K. Well, the seller's just trying to add 25K to the house.
On top
You know
of
what
it,
I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
what I'm
it's
saying.
a
It
waste of
doesn't.
time. Yeah.
That's right. So they're
And then,
probably looking at it like that. So
yeah, and you got, like you said, Arsenal's pushing back, saying no, the add-on will be okay. He needs to score 10, 15 goals in Champions League or something like that. So
yeah.
it's a lot of the little pettiness going on. It's actually dragged on, and I'm getting a little bit worried that it might not come over the line, which I think it will. But if it doesn't, it's gonna be an absolute piss take of.
I can't see why it
of an
won't,
upstairs
because
end.
if the bloke will go on strike, then he can't play with Sporting anymore after this.
Yeah.
Well, that's what he's threatening to do that as well. He came out and said that. So what's going to happen? He's not going to get paid anymore. It'll become a whole legal matter, essentially.
And Sporting have already lined up that Danish bloke. Have you heard of him? His name's Conrad Hayter or something.
Yeah.
They've already got a replacement ready to come in, so I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. So just let him
Saga
go. Like,
continues.
exactly. I reckon if it keeps going, it will become a legal issue, and I reckon it'll be an example in the sport eventually. If it keeps going, because it's actually gone pretty. This is a long time now. It's been going on for about a month.
But the reality, Jay, is he's breaching contract here.
He
Yeah.
is.
He's got a contract to adhere to. He can throw his
Yep.
toys out of the pram as much as he likes
Yeah.
and say, I don't want to play here anymore. He's got a release clause. By all accounts, it sounds like Arsenal hasn't met it and they're negotiating under it. And so what I'm saying is, in theory, all the powers with Sporting. However, in reality,
Yeah.
do you really have the power play if the player doesn't even want to play for you?
Yeah.
He doesn't want to
He
play.
doesn't even
and
want to be there. He doesn't want to be there anymore. So you almost need to
exactly.
accept whatever's happening, but you can't just bend over the barrel, right? Like,
Yeah,
I-
but like
I think the cat and
60
mouse
mil.
will I think the game of cat and mouse will still continue with Sporting, but the longer it goes on, the more someone needs to sacrifice, right? And
Yeah.
if they're playing hardball and says, well, he can just rot here, we don't care.
Mm.
And the onus is on you to find an extra 2, 3, 4 million to get it over the line, then you guys are the ones who have more to lose here.
Yeah, exactly.
So they know this position, and it could almost be in Mbeumo 2.0, where you might get a random club that comes in from nowhere, and Al Nassr, who said, okay, Arsenal's paying you 200, we'll give you 400, and all of a sudden you're like, hang on here, we don't want to lose him. We might need to pay a couple extra bucks just to get it over the line. Almost like what we did with Wissa. The moment that link came out, Man U came flying in for Mbeumo. Like, it was almost instantaneous. The tweet came out, Man U came in. We got to close this, because if they sell Wissa, we're not getting Mbeumo.
Yeah.
They're not getting rid of both. So I don't know. I think if it's a couple of million here or there, you've got to
you've got to lock it in 100%.
It's not worth it.
You can't haggle for 2-3 million here and there when we just paid 48-50 mil for Madueke.
Exactly. That's the key point.
And this is stalling our signing with Eze. So it's relying on this now, and plus.
But that's the other thing. Sporting know that you want to wrap this up so you can move on and spend 60 odd million on another player.
Yeah,
so they're
exactly.
thinking, hang on here, we know you're flush. We know you're flush. So why are we just going to corral to, make this thing happen for you? You need to make the deal happen. We will let this guy, someone else will buy him maybe, so.
Yeah. Anyways.
You just got to have Man United then come swooping in. That'll be pretty bad.
Well, he did say he doesn't want to go there. He just wants Arsenal. But if that happens, good luck to Arsenal. It would just be an absolute piss take on Instagram again.
Yeah.
Villa. Again, same as last week. There's a lot of speculation, but nothing confirmed. We touched on Martinez. Look, that's floating in the air somewhere. I'm not even sure where that's going to land, but my gut feel tells me I've been saying this all along. I think he's gone. The signing of the backup keeper kind of gives insurance. So if he leaves, at least we've got someone there interim. But again, he'll be replaced, I'm pretty sure. we're in a, like I said, we're not in the best shape. We're more we're more in the clearance, so we're just trying to get rid of people as much as we can. We just closed out Baron Chayla the other day to Benfica. 3 mil loan with a 30% sell on at the end of the year. Sorry, with a 12 mil for 12 mil fixed purchase with a 30% sell on, which is fine. I mean, he wasn't playing for us. We got too many at midfield. Can't keep letting the guy out. Get him off the books for now. We need SCR relief, so his wages are gone, plus a 3 mil loan fee. So that's okay. Kane Kessler-Haven's gone. It looks like Leon Bailey's been shopped around furiously. I don't know where that's going to land. And I said this last week. It's like I'm repeating myself. All last year's guys have left. Like Asensio, I'm pretty sure got tied up by Fenerbahce the other day, and obviously you heard about Rashford. So they're two guys we're not going to touch again, of course. But I didn't think they're realistic, anyways. So it's looking. It's the clock's ticking. I'm starting to think, where we're going to get our players, especially up front, because like I said, Bailey's going. Ramsey's been linked to Nottingham Forest. They've pumped out an article in the Telegraph saying he's our key guy. They want him on the cheap. We don't want to sell him on the cheap. It's a tug of war. I don't want to lose him because I think we need another year to sort of be injury free and kind of show us what he's made of and why we believe in him. But you just never know these things. As Forest do pursue people, like as you could see that the fashion they pursue it and the type of player they pursue, people have come through the academy. Like Elliot Anderson, they pursue. Like I said, they're buying those type of players that have come through the academy. They haven't really made it, or they were just about to make it. And like I said, it seems to be a recurring theme with them. So yeah, that's one I don't want.
Which is not a bad strategy, by the way. It worked for them last year. They look like a pretty good team. They just fell away at the end, but.
Yeah. So yeah, and they're going to lose Morgan Gibbs-White. Looks like he's on the outer. He's at training, but I think he's handed his notice in a long time ago. So it looks like they're in trouble there. But yeah, for us, we're still in it was just announced, and we're having a bit of a laugh with Chuck. Well, not a laugh, a bit of a debate. It looks like Kamara's going to re-sign, which I think is massive for us because it shores up our midfield for another few years. But the scary part is we've got Tillmans, Mings, Buendia, Bailey. There's about 4 or 5 of them that are coming off contract in 27. So they've kind of signed, at the same time to actually end. So we've got some renewals to actually do, or goodbyes, I guess, next year. So yeah, nothing.
You're at a critical juncture with those guys. With 2 years to go, it's either sell or not sell, because if you let it go down to a year, you're going to lose 30-40% of their value.
Oh yeah.
And in PSR world, we can't do this. Teams like Villa and Newcastle, we can't afford to let guys run anything down. We've got to cash in. It's
just tricky at the moment. We're the opposite to you guys. We're trying to sell to move on. You guys are trying to buy to move on. So we're kind of at the different ends of the spectrum. But yeah, nothing too exciting. Hopefully, I've got some more news for you guys next week. Our preseason games, we've lost both games, but half the team's not there, so I'm not really looking much into it. So we got done yesterday by Div 2, Bundesliga 2 side. What are they called? Hansa Rostock. I can't pronounce it. We got done 3-1 yesterday. So, but again, we're missing about 11 or 12 players. So whatever. It's just a runaround for the moment.
So for Villa, I mean, look, we'll touch on Newcastle and my concerns, what's going on there. But I also have concerns for Villa that from last year, you've lost Duran, Rashford, and Asensio, 3 players who contributed heavily to your season last year. Yeah. They're not. These aren't 3 spare parts. They all contributed goals or assists directly to that team. I know it was sliding doors moment, but they were all there last year, and without them, I really feel like you're weakened without replacing. And that's a lot of Rashford and Asensio. They came from PSG, Man United, and Duran. He was the hottest striker in the Premier League. Youngster. Last season he was just scoring everywhere, winning games. That's going to be interesting to see how Villa bounce back from this.
I don't think we'll go empty-handed with those 3 gone. I definitely think we'll sign a few. I just don't know what shoppish, but when are we shopping? That's the only part I'm not going to commit to at the moment, because of the fact that we haven't sold anyone. We'll obviously limit who we can buy, but I'm just hoping we sell some of these guys and allows us to buy a bit more quality at the front.
I think, you touched on it. You said Martinez and Bailey are your 2 spark plugs to get the ball moving. So if you can get a combined 40 mil from them two, that gives you some PSR wiggle room.
That's another one.
Yeah, but he's only got a year left. Like I don't even know if that's even worth it. Matsson's there. I'm just saying it's good to have a bit of competition. In the team.
No, they've got what they're thinking is now is keep Moreno, get rid of Digne now.
Yeah, but Moreno wasn't even there.
No, I know, but Moreno's on like
so
60,
now,
70
keep him there.
He's got 120, 30k. So you clear the books with like let Maatsen start, put Moreno as a backup, get rid of Dean. That's what they're thinking. You can't have three left backs, man. It's too.
No, you can't. But I thought Moreno, he didn't play much for Forest last year, did he?
He started, then he copped an injury, and he kind of faded away as the year went on. Because Oina, what's his name, was the right back. This guy was the left back, so he kind of interchanged with Moreno. But Emery likes Moreno, but.
Yeah, I want to ask you, Nedeljkovic, why wouldn't you guys play him over Cash when a team like Leipzig wants him?
Yeah, that makes absolutely no sense at all. He looks like a good, and he kept out Gertrude, the really good right back,
the captain.
Yeah, the captain.
It must have been a falling out or something. It makes no sense. Every time I read it,
because he's actually a good player.
Yeah, I know. I really rate him. So I don't know. Emery. The problem they've got. Emery's really high on that Garcia kid they've signed. He's pretty raw, but they're really high on him. But I don't know why he's high on Garcia and Cash and not Nedeljkovic. Because for me, Cash dealt one out for me.
Yeah.
So it's a weird one, that one. If a team like Leipzig wants to sign him and wants to start him, that's
who are known for having really good, let's buy young potential players. They've got a great track record doing that. We all in this chat think the right back is like it's
critical. It's critical, bro.
It's toxic out there. Your situation at right back, it's so bad. I don't know. I find that really strange because he's young and they renegotiated a lower buy fee now. It went from like 15 to 9 million. So you're negotiating backwards for this kid and they still want him, which is interesting.
I find it's really weird. I don't know. That one's a real strange one. To be honest, some of our sales I haven't agreed with about, not every single one. Like when we sold Baron Chad for like it's a loan with a 3 mil upfront payment, with a 12 mil fixed fee at the end, with the 30% sell on. Benfica they know how to sell players. Benfica, that's my biggest problem. Like this guy will have one good season and be pumped out for 45 mil somewhere in Spain.
So I thought he'd be good for you this year. I would have got rid of someone a bit older, like your Ross Barkley. Yeah, like
I agree.
He started off well, but he's not the future. He faded. Give this kid a bit of a run in midfield, like so you can see what he's got there as a holding, especially with Kamara, right? Kamara, he had an injury the year before. He's coming back. Like you can give him a bit of game time, and you're playing in Europe. You're in the Europa League, so you're not. It's not a Mickey Mouse tournament. You need some bodies there.
It might be a case of, look, they've bidded, we need a sale. Let's just take it for now and move on with life. I think it's something to do with that because it just seems like we're trying to flog the edges as hard as we can, and he seemed to be the first count.
How long's Bailey got left on his deal?
2 years.
Bro, get rid of him. He's got
to go. But no one wants to pay for him, Jay. No one wants to pay money for. I think Villa wants something like 30 mil for him, and the Turkish teams are coming in with 5 to 10. But they're giving him they're offering him high wages to turn his head and force a move, force Villa's hand. Yeah. But they don't want to pay money for him.
It's ridiculous. Anyways, let's move on to Newcastle, Chuck.
Newcastle.
What's going on over there?
One word, Isak. Everything begins and ends with Isak. He's our world-class talent. If we have him fit and playing and happy, we're a completely different team. We're whilst we might have deficiencies somewhere in the squad and the depth or whatever, if you've got a top 2 striker in the Premier League, that bails you out a lot, and, obviously he's had his head turned with Liverpool, I mean, who wouldn't? Liverpool, Newcastle's realistic, we're not a Burnley, or we're not a smaller team in the Championship, not to call out Burnley or single them out. We're not a Norwich or whatever. We're a big team, we're a top 20 team in the world, but when it comes up against Liverpool, most players are going to have their heads turned unless you're from Newcastle and you're a Geordie, so I think that rattled the cage a little bit. last week for him. The good thing with Isak is he's been really professional the whole time at Newcastle. He's never shown any signs that, he's going to be asking for transfer requests or anything like that. He gets along great with the team. He enjoys playing at Newcastle. He's openly said on numerous forums he loves the city. He loves the passionate fan base. We won a trophy last year, and he's the man. He's the god there. Like there's for the most part, we're happy in that regard. But we had a friendly yesterday, and Howe came out, and he was trying to be quite honest, and saying, well, he wasn't ready to play today. In fairness, the whole team's been training for 4 or 5 days. Like they went to Austria last week. They've been kicking a ball around for 5 days, whitewater rafting. They're hardly ready. And given he's the crown jewel, you don't want to be throwing him and thrusting him into a game where he's not 100%, where he can get hurt, right? This is the player that cotton gloves are on. So
it would have been a statement.
But it would have been a statement if he stayed on the bench or he came on for 5-10 minutes and be like, hey, life is going on as per usual. The fact that he didn't do that, I know Hal said a few things. It wasn't a great look, right? And whether you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. The only good news is that Newcastle travel to Singapore and Korea soon. Like I'm talking in the next 5-6 days. If he's on that flight, I will feel much better.
Of course he'll be on that flight.
Yeah, no, well, not necessarily, Rick, because if he's had a conversation with Howe and he said, look, I want to play at Newcastle, but I want you to consider what's going on at Liverpool. I want to be given the opportunity. My career is short. He's 25. He's at the prime of his career, right? He's got the next 2-3 years. I know he had a good year last year. In the right setting, he could blow past last year. You know what I mean? He could crack 30 goals in the Prem this year. Like he missed a few games last year as well. With more chances, trust me, he could go another level. He's getting to that age. And he's probably sitting there thinking, it's a now or never moment for me. But the problem is Newcastle are steadfast, and we're going into a Champions League campaign. We do not want to sell this guy. And if you do, you got to pay through your nose for him. And I think that's where the push-pull is happening. He's on 120K per week. Our highest earner at the club is Bruno Guimaraes. He's on about 180. And
Kelly.
I think... Sorry?
Kelly, up there with him.
Lloyd Kelly was on 150. He was a free transfer, though, so he had a great negotiation. But I guess that's... but that's a good thing because Lloyd Kelly's left. Yeah. Callum Wilson has left. Those two guys alone, Almiron as well. Those three guys make up close to $500,000 in wages. Just those three, right? And the three of them didn't contribute to the team at all. Like Almiron played a little bit. Wilson had 0 in 16. And Kelly, he wasn't at the level that we needed. So we've got some wiggle room. Plus our income is going up this year because of the Champions League. It's going up by a lot. I think Newcastle's going to be offering him a contract during this summer north of 250K. Now, I think his representatives want that sooner, but it goes back to what we've been talking about offline and how sort of alluded to that in his press conference. Mitchell leaving blindsided him because whilst they probably didn't get along, or see eye to eye, without a director of football, Howe basically said, I was 2 days into my holiday. I heard the news. I had to jump back to Newcastle and start manning the phones, right? And start doing the training, start doing the scouting. I had to, start planning everything. And that's taken a toll on the guy. And given how close we were on a few signings, that might have been the difference. If we had a director of football there, we were working on the João Pedro deal for a while. Would we have acted more decisively and secured that deal before Chelsea came in at the 11th hour and took him? You know what I mean? Because he was there for the taking, I thought, the João Pedro. And that makes a big difference to Newcastle. If we've got João Pedro in like a 10, Isak up top or interchanging, all of a sudden the team looks much, much better. So from my point of view, the structure, Isak, the friendly result, we got walloped 4-0. We looked old. Pope made a horrendous mistake, and we've been after Trafford the whole time. People are saying, what more evidence do you need? And now we're looking at Man City of trying to evoke their 40 million buyback clause. You know, it seems it's almost like a nearly summer, and you know, look, obviously I'm a big fan of what PIF have done to Newcastle. They've revitalized the club, but boy, have they made it hard for Eddie Howe. You know, last year was an absolute circus. You know, with Staveley leaving, CEO coming in, Mitchell coming in, Mitchell telling everybody he's got a new transfer strategy. If Howe wants to go, we'll support him for England. And this summer, he's got no CEO, no director of football. You know, if we didn't have Eddie Howe, this whole project would fall over. Like it literally is hinging on one guy, and he's making it all happen. So, I mean, that's the doomsday scenario, and it could all culminate on the flight out to Singapore. If Isak's not on that flight, the rooster has come home to roost, right? Or as the expression says, right? That's where the rubber meets the road.
If he's not on the flight, where's he going?
If he's not on the flight, he's out of here. I don't know where. I don't know where, but I think Liverpool will still go for him. If they get if they get rid of but if they get rid of Diaz, they'll make some sales. They'll get rid of Diaz. They'll get rid of Nunez. They'll also get rid of the what's the kid that played for England under 21, Harvey Elliott. Yeah. Those three guys are going to bring them north of 120. And if they have to negotiate 140 with Newcastle or 150 or whatever it is,
I'll do it.
That might be it. They might sit there and go, okay, Ekitike is the project, and we can bleed him in. And we don't have any strikers if Nunez goes. This way we've got two, and we're equipped to take on every competition. And they've funded it by those sales.
Imagine they do a swoop of Isak and Gordon. Imagine they did that because they need a left wing if they get rid of Diaz.
There'll be one or the other. We won't let go of both.
You can't.
We can't let go of both. And if
they need a left wing. That's why they're going for Rodrigo.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'll be very surprised if Liverpool go for Isaac after this.
Yeah. So for me,
because that means their spending goes past 350, 400 mil, and that's like a world record. You might as well be in Saudi.
No. But the thing is, they've kept their powder dry, and if they make the sales, if Isak comes on the market and he doesn't go next week, I can almost assure you they will come in for him. They will come in for him. They will see it as a market opportunity and go, you know what? If we need to be a little thinner and lighter elsewhere in the squad to get that guy, we're doing it. That is their number one target. They also lost Jota, right? Rest in peace. I'm saying that in terms of personnel, if they've lost Jota, if they lose Diaz, they remove Harvey Elliott, Nunez goes, they're going to look at that and say, you know what? We've trimmed the edges and we've loaded up top. And now we've got Isak, Ekitike can play off him, and you've got your,
Salah. How detrimental that'll be for you guys, man?
Oh, it's
That's
on one hand,
I
don't think it's happening.
I don't know, man. Like I'm just saying that's the doomsday scenario for Newcastle. And as we get closer to this date, flying out to Singapore, I think it's a really telling moment for Newcastle. That's notwithstanding all the lack of support we've given Howe, right? And how he's doing everything, In saying all that, nothing can change a team and an atmosphere of a club like a couple of signings. And if we hold on to Isak and we get a couple of signings and we give him the contract, which I think we should have done straight away. The window opened, we should have said, we're not going anywhere for the next 48 to 72 hours. Let's thrash out a deal. We need to we need to make a statement and stop any potential noise, or limit the noise. You want 250, 300, we'll do it. We'll work out how we make that happen. You are the centerpiece of this project. Without you, we're a mid-table team. With you, we might get back into Champions League. So it is no player in the Newcastle team has that sort of impact. So that's the first thing they should have done. But look, it hasn't happened. So anyway, that's the doomsday scenario. But as I said, if we're in a position where we can, let's just say we go out now, okay, we don't get a goalkeeper. If we get Scalvini, I'm hearing rumors of Kolo Muani, Juventus owe us some money. if we get him on loan with the buy or whatever next year, what I'm saying is if you've got, Scalvini, you've got, Alanga, some depth there, you've got, Moani and Isak, all of a sudden the team starts to look a little bit different because we've got a younger defender who will be probably our best defender, because him and Botman it's at that level. You know what I mean? Livramento and Hall didn't play this morning against Celtic. Our fullbacks are central to what we do. Obviously, Isak wasn't there. Joel Linton wasn't there. Bruno played one half. Tonali came on the second half. So it was a very fragmented team. But it wasn't very positive from our point of view, in light of everything that's happening. So that's Newcastle. It's the situation doesn't look great, but we have to be optimistic that a signing or two can really turn it around quickly. And
you definitely need a signing, but I don't think you're losing Isak now. I think that's dead with signing Ekitike.
I don't think they're going to lose him, but I think it's shaken up the club a lot, because I don't think they were expecting Liverpool to come in so aggressive.
Yeah.
Because they've always known interest, which I agree with Chuck. I just think Liverpool have really rocked the cage a bit with him. And as you can tell, when I read that this morning that he hasn't flown out, he flew back home, I thought, shit, that's not a good sign. I was just waiting for Chuck to tell me he's going to tell me that Isaac's gone back home for his niece's birthday or something random like that. But I could always sense something was up. But at the same time, the thing with Newcastle for me is that I feel bad for Eddie Howe, because I'm pretty sure he's doing P&Ls as well. Like, I'm pretty sure he's filling in for the finance department because the CFO's resigned as well, I'm hearing. But that's my biggest fear. Is that like got a pacemaker ready to go? Because if that guy falls dead, you guys are finished. So that's from the health.
From the health, but since you brought it up, he had that really bad health situation at the back end of last season, and I'm pretty sure it was stress induced, right? And this ain't helping him. He's got no CEO, no director of football. He's laying out witches' hats, and he's out there making phone calls, trying to negotiate payment terms with teams. You know what I mean? Like, is there anything this guy can't do? It's almost like a throwback. You might have Harry Redknapp. If Harry Redknapp, was in the jump on the chair, he'd say, "Mate, we did this all the time. This was normal." But the game has changed now because these agents and all these intermediaries that you're dealing with. You hear one thing, you hear another, you got another thing flying in, and as we've seen, we've missed out on a lot of players that could have really helped us. What would the team look like if we had signed, João Pedro, Trafford? Maybe we would have got a defender by now. And all of a sudden, there's the other thing, the equation is, this was a summer to show Isak ambition. We had to come in hard and get some players and show, hey, this is where you need to stay. If we sign 4 or 5 good players, we want to go for the title, right? Even though we're the 5th best team probably in the betting, but we want to go for it. We wanted to bring in Ekitike or João Pedro or, now these are players we want. But unfortunately, when you're shopping in that market and you're hamstrung by PSR, you really can't break the rules, right? We've got to play within the parameters that this hierarchy has created for everybody.
I've always asked how much of an impact if Mitchell's hung around. I get Mitchell, you're not his favourite. He's not on your Christmas list. I get that, but I would have expected Mitchell to at least close some or alternative targets. But it looks like you guys it looks like so far you have shopped at who's the most the favourites for who's the most well-known targets. Let's just go for them, because it sounds like you're shopping where everyone else is shopping, not anywhere different. If you get that makes sense. Mbeumo, like Trafford's at one. Not everyone's shopping there, but you could have closed that. Mbeumo,
well, Man City might get it.
Ekitike.
So, but what I'm saying is, Rick, there's 2 schools of thought, right? On one hand, we're shopping for teams who are going for the title, want these players. We want them as well. So it means the eye is in the right place. And, I heard a lot of reports when Heisen went to Real Madrid, he really thought about the Newcastle project, right? But we can't compete with Real Madrid. So Real Madrid, Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea, look at these, Man City now. We want to strengthen the team, but we're just handicapped, from prestige and ability to pay. And I think we've spoken about this before. If there was no PSR, right, I don't think we're missing out on all those deals because whatever anyone can offer, it'll be Saudi Pro League type figures. You know what I mean? And the only difference is you're playing in the Premier League, in the Champions, in the Champions League. So when you got those constraints, it makes it really hard to shop in that window. But we were hopeful of landing something.
Is it smart to target those type of players considering you know what you're up against?
Yeah, well,
the catch-22.
It's a catch-22. If one or two of them came off, all of a sudden the team looks, it's got a bit of boosting quality, right? And that top-end talent is what propels you up the table. Right? Hire a CEO, get a director of football in, keep pushing for transfers, lock in Isak. We can't go into how long can we go without a CEO? What sort of business is this? Who's right? Andy Howe came in on an apprenticeship. He's calling all the shots for Eddie Howe in there. Andy Howe has gone from an apprenticeship to he's on the table. Yeah, chief negotiator.
Big Eddie.
You know what I mean? Rick, I'm gonna send my CV in after this. I'm gonna keep my phone on charge. Man. I'm just happy to lay a pair of hands. How can I help? You know what I mean?
What do you want to do? Football manager experience.
Can I send the football manager database? Like, can I start going through some of these guys? You know what I mean? Like, how can we help? It's got to that point. So look, which probably takes us on to our last topic of the day. The gap with the top four. What started off as maybe this time last year, the likes of Newcastle and Villa really trying to push the established teams into the top four. It looks like financial constraints through PSR, squad cost rules, whatever it might be, has really put a handbrake on us.
Yeah.
Right? And what's happened is probably exactly what the blueprint was supposed to happen all along. These big teams
Super League.
These big teams keep firing up, taking the best talent, and in which case the teams like Newcastle and Villa are scrapping to hold on to stay relevant and maybe chase them. So I think whilst the gap was close, they're sort of pulling away. Liverpool's obviously way stronger, so let's forget about them. Arsenal, they're the second best team last year and have been, so they're in a league of their own. But it was Chelsea who we were both within going, you know what? They're not necessarily better than us. We'll back ourselves to beat them. We may finish above them with a bit of luck or vice versa. They look like they're moving on, right? Whether this Club World Cup cash, this injection and everything, these signings they've pulled in. And who's the other one? City. I mean, we're going to put City as, they're a top four team. They get Haaland, Rodri back. They're signing players, 6-7 players for 300-400 million. And look at the peril Newcastle and Villa are in, largely because of PSR and squad cost rules.
Can't do anything. Yeah. And the scary part is that there's fire and Isaac, and I'm starting to read the things picking up around Rodgers. So that's two players that you're trying to hold on to that are critical to your, moving forward. You lose them. How are you going to replace them? You're going backwards.
That's exactly right.
So
especially Villa, Rick. You guys are in a worse spot than Newcastle, because then you got an aging Ollie Watkins now. He might leave. So how are you going to replace that as well?
That's what I'm saying. So all these conundrums mean you kind of have to procure players that need to, get the same amount of goals, contribute the same way. These guys have been with the system for 2 or 3 years. They know what it is about. So that's why, you can rely on them. But if Watkin goes, who's going to do 15 and 10? Good luck finding that. You've got to spend 70, 80 mil, which they're all gone. Who's going to come now? There's no one left. We get rid of Rodgers for, 80, 90, 100 mil. Who's going to replace him? We have to spend another 80 mil to replace him, if not more, and that's a risk. So you just you can sell as much as you want, make 200 mil, but that 200 mil needs to be turned into something that's going to contribute eventually. Can't just keep on pumping up these players. And that's why the big teams take off, like Chuck said, in front of us. They'll procure these players. They'll just keep pushing on, and we're just remaining here while these guys are going here, or we're actually going backwards. So the gap's getting bigger and bigger. Look at Bournemouth; they've lost their whole backline.
Yeah, they got poached hard.
They've been gutted.
Yeah.
And Brentford as well. They've lost. They could lose two their
They
scorers
scored.
and
The only
their
guys that
coach
scored.
and their captain. Like that team's sort of been gutted as well. So, I mean, look,
The
some
rich get
opportunities
richer.
are worth. Yes, some opportunities are worth. You need to sell. Every player's got a price, but this is getting really difficult to really break the established. And
Just if I just touch base on, I get the PSR standpoint, but your team has offered a lot of bad contracts to a lot of average players as well. That's the problem. Is like how much is Marino on? He's on 90, yeah, 90, and then you got Deeney's on 120.
So a lot of the cleanups happening from the Gerrard era. He offered a lot of money to
Gerrard and
rubbish.
Smith as well, yeah.
No, Smith, yeah, but Gerrard, Gerrard was giving out contracts to Digne 120, Bailey 120.
It's crazy.
Yeah, like when he was just, I don't know what he was doing, but he basically Diego Carlos was on 100. We couldn't even move him. Coutinho 120. Like there's 500k on players. I'm scratching my head. What they're going to contribute on. So we need to get rid of all them. Emery's come in and he has signed a few players. Like he signed Pau Torres. He's on 100k. Pau Torres. That's okay. It's not bad. You can live with that. Morgan Rogers, we signed for like 40k. We bumped up to 75. He's going to have to go up to 150 plus. You can't take Morgan 75.
That's the problem. You've got these players like Morgan Rogers. You can't tell teams he's worth 100 million and keep paying him 75k. The agent simultaneously will be picking up the phone and saying, "Hey, what's going on here?"
But then you can say the same about Isak as well.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Well, but there's been a lot of talk around Isak contract, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they're going to announce something. The challenge with the Isak thing is what is the release clause? His agent will be saying, we can't be held to ransom. They're going to try to negotiate down, and for every dollar we pay less, the release clause will be less.
Yeah.
So if we're saying to him, Isak, we're giving you 350. The release clause might be 150. So it's a game of cat and mouse that we need to find a way to make happen. Same thing about Morgan Rogers. Sorry, Jay. The same thing. Yeah. He's not going to hang around on 75k. He meets up his mates in the England squad. He hangs out with guys, randoms. Chilwell's on 150k. Like you think he's going to sit around being one of the brightest English players in the Prem? You think he's going to take 75? Come on.
No.
So that's a problem for you. That's more of a problem for you, Rick.
That's what I'm saying. We're faced with this conundrum of, trying to keep these guys happy whilst replenishing players that Gerrard decided to hand out freebies to, whilst trying to be competitive, whilst trying to get younger. So there's like 4 balls in the air you're trying to balance at the moment, right? Plus CSR, which we're way above, which has to be 70%.
Teams know your precarious position and they know
they're waiting
to offload. If I'm negotiating with someone who's got a foreclosure on his house and I'm the only person buying, I ain't offering top dollar. I want to pick this guy apart. You know what I mean? So teams know the situation Villa is in and they're like, okay, this player X is worth 20 million. We'll give you 9. Liverpool last year signed one player that didn't make any contribution to the team. Chiesa. And they ran away with the Premier League. Villa may not sign anyone and might look amazing this year in the Premier League because of the coach, but at the moment, as it stands as a Newcastle fan, I'm definitely not optimistic at the season ahead. It's looking a little bit, like a 7th or 8th place finish, maybe. I don't know. It's not looking great. And unless we start to see some incomings, Jay, we're being dragged away from the top 4. We're moving more mid-table than that way.
Yeah, but let's talk about also who else can come back into the top 4, top 6 area.
I think
hang on, Rick, just one sec. With the signing of Mbeumo and Chunha, I think that skyrockets Man United to the top 10 again. I think that pushes them back into in there.
Yeah,
because now you've got Aston Villa's got to sell. Newcastle need a couple of players. Chelsea have bought actually very well, so they might even be top 2, top 3. You don't even know how Palmer will be this year. So then you look at that. Bournemouth is gone; they're finished. Forest might still hang around. So you guys might have to contend. Rick, you might have to contend with a team like United now.
But hang on, there's a few things, right? But let me just say the thing that's kind of saving us at Newcastle is the mid-table has bottomed out. So the mid-table pack has gotten worse. So that floor has been extended for us in terms of a safety net, right? So from 7th, 8th down, they've kind of pummeled out. But Man United have been thrusted back in, so
Yes.
you can kind of replace them. But like I said, I've got Brentford down to struggle big time. I was telling Chuck, I wouldn't be surprised this team's going to start battling out with relegation. They've got Keith Andrews, who was a throwing coach, a set-piece coach, taking over. They've lost their 2 strikers, plus Norgard, their captain. That's a lot for one season.
Brentford's in a world of hurt at the moment. That's huge. Unless they make some good signings, they're going to really struggle. Team for me, the surprise team, and I'm going early. I know there's a lot of window to go. I think it's going to be Everton. They've got a new stadium. They're actually buying players at the moment. They've brought in a striker who might surprise a few people. They've got a solid foundation. They tied up Branthwaite, and under Moyes.
As well.
Did he go?
No, apparently he's the closest one to go. As in, after him.
And that would be a really good signing for them at Goodison Park. Oh well, not Goodison. Sorry, their new
whatever it's called.
10-word lawyer firm stadium, whatever it is. But what I'm saying is Everton for me could be a bit of a surprise packet next year. And Man United with 1 game a week, adding likes of Cunha and Mbeumo.
That's my point.
They could be 8th, 6th. They could make a dramatic. And when you add that much firepower, like proven firepower, they're not shopping. They're not shopping for Anthony's and Hoylands anymore. Things that guys that can come in and maybe do it. These guys can do it.
Yeah.
And they held on to Fernandes.
Yeah, exactly. So that's I think United will be back in the mix. They obviously won't be top 4, top 6, but they'll hang around there where Brighton finished and Bournemouth. The Tottenham, you don't know. Like I don't think they're going to finish 17th again. I don't think that's happening.
They won't finish 17th, but
they'll get Champions League.
They do, but they'll get pumped in there. And they'll finish early, so they've got the rest of the league to rest of the season. So I don't think
I can't say that definitively, Jay. They might have a okay league campaign and bad Champions League, or vice versa. I still think they haven't recovered from losing Harry Kane and a prime Sonny. That's too many goals out of that team. And Postecoglou copped it, obviously defensively he wasn't at the races, but they just didn't have the goals in that team, like at that level, elite. But they're signing some players, but they're not a top 4 threat.
They're not. But they let in 65 goals last year. Yeah. That's a lot.
And who have they signed defensively?
No one.
Nobody.
But they might get a coach that might not employ like what Andrew's doing, the ultra attacking.
Yeah, they might sit back 10 yards deeper a little bit.
It might safer. Help them. Yeah. So
I still can't get around Romero and Vicario. They're 2 guys I don't have any confidence in. And if I'm Newcastle playing Tottenham, I see them in the team sheet, I automatically feel 5% better. You know what I mean?
But even Pedro's not even a right back. That guy's bombing forward like crazy.
It's only Van der Ven that's defending. He's injured half the season.
Well, of course he's injured. He's covering for everybody. He's chasing every ball. You know what I mean? He's chasing left back, right back. He scored a goal last year, or set the goal up. Remember, we went through the whole length of the pitch.
That was against United.
Gareth Bale from the back.
Man, he's so used to running, covering that much yards at the back. He thought, I'm going to just keep running forward for a change.
The gap, if we look at even closer, the top, obviously Liverpool and Arsenal, that's the 1 and 2. But Man City, Haaland, if he comes back to his form, 30 goals a season, obviously pending how their midfield will go. I think the top 4 is pretty much makeshift at the moment. I think Chelsea will finish around the same mark, if not maybe third, depending. Yeah. So it ultimately comes down to what you guys were saying. It's your 2 teams, and then you got like you said, the mid-table. Everyone's regressed there completely. Everyone's completely dropped down. So there's going to be a lot of fighting at the bottom going on. So
well, Jay, it's a long window, as you saw with Arsenal. 4 weeks into the window, Arsenal fans, AFTV, that was pure comedy. People were losing it on AFTV. Yeah. Now, all of a sudden, Zubimendi came in, Gyökeres could sign over the line. All of a sudden, there's high fives. How can we have... I heard some guy mention Invincibles. No, but you get what I'm saying. The sentiment changes really quickly.
Of course. Yeah.
And I guess this is the big difference between Newcastle and Villa. At the moment, you guys are taking fire and repelling. We are looking and failing. Do you know what I mean? So that's sort of the conundrum the 2 teams are at. But this doesn't bode well for PIF. What's going on? Last year was a calamity. This year, no CEO, no director of football, going into arguably the biggest window. A window, mind you, that we hadn't signed anyone for 2 years. Yeah. We should have been coming out the gate like You know, what I mean, we've been chomping at the bit to see us submit a transfer offer.
Yeah.
You know, so
like I said, I can kind of empathise with just on a different side of the scale. But it's funny, you got the richest owners who are making the cheapest moves. I can't make sense of what's going on there. Like, that hierarchy doesn't go against your PSR. You should be having a world-class hierarchy there. Top end CEO, top end DOS. Like, I don't get it.
It doesn't make sense, you know. As we wrap it up, as it stands 20th of July, because we do these weekly, how are you guys feeling about where you're positioned? How do you feel about the Arsenal? Assuming Gyökeres' dad stops crying and starts, he starts signing the deal. How do you feel?
I'm pretty confident. If we get Gyökeres over, I'm pretty confident. Like I think we're set with second place, but I do want to. I want to win the comp. I think we're edging closer.
You got a good team.
We do, 100%. So I think we obviously will get him over the line. Otherwise, it'd be a complete catastrophe if that happens on AFTV.
Yeah.
I'm very confident, and we're in a really good spot at the moment. And look, we still got a bit of money to burn as well, so we've got no issues. We've got a pretty. Our team's got depth now. But yeah, I'm very confident.
Rick, how do you see Villa finishing at this point in time? If you had to make a prediction, and this is fluid, mind you. If you sign, someone amazing next week, you can obviously shoot it up.
Yeah.
But as a 20th of July, how do you feel?
I just hope you don't chart my recommendations to be like that every single week, because I'm not sure what's going to happen next week, who we're going to have. But as long as the thing that gives me a bit of confidence is the mid-table teams, like I said to you earlier, have kind of been flushed out quite a bit, which kind of gives us the floor. And then with you guys kind of not making many signings, you kind of status quo-ish. I reckon if we keep the same squad, you're looking probably 6th, 7th for me. But if you replace the attackers with something that's half of what they kind of produced and get a right back, we could be in the thick of 5th again. It's just in between that. For me, it's 5th or 7th. I don't know. It's somewhere in between there.
Yeah, for me, look, I think somewhere between. I think our ceiling may be a little bit higher than yours. I think maybe if everything goes right, because we're trying to buy, if everything goes right, we could get 4th. But as it stands, if nothing happens, I'm looking at closer to 8th, 9th. You know what I mean? I have us finishing below you at the moment because of Champions League, the age of the team. We've got a lot of old players in the team. They're not going to back up well. We don't have a lot of depth. That could really hurt us, So, at the moment, my variance is between 4th and 9th. Like, it's pretty big.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on the fence, but I'm looking more closer to 7th, 8th, 9th at the moment rather than, 4th, 5th.
Battle of the Conference League between your teams.
Jeez. Not good, Jay.
Not good at all.
All right. That's a wrap for episode 4 of Toebash Diaries. Big thanks for tuning in. As always, we'll be back next week with more takes. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on our socials at Toebash Diaries. Catch you next time.